we speak about design, all right? Because this needs indeed to be designed, and we have a great role to play into that. So system design for sustainability. I will start with the definition this time, as differently from the other. The key approaches and tools that I may highlight the designer should have to design such a product service system should apply to distributed economy. And I will introduce, but only introduce, a strategy to design sustainable system, because indeed this strategy will be described with example the next lecture by some of my collaborators. They are all PhD by the lab working on those topics, and they will be presenting those to you. So a definition. The definition is very easy. Why it's very easy? Because if we know the definition of product service system or sustainable product service system, is simply to say design a sustainable product service system. Okay? So design a system of products and services that are together able to fulfill a satisfaction unit or a particular customer design based on innovative interaction between the stakeholder, innovative stakeholder configuration, where the ownership and or the life cycle cost remain by the provider or the providers, so that the providers continuously seek for environmentally and socio-ethical beneficial solution with economic benefit. So it's to design this. And the little difference when we speak about designing sustainable product service system applied to distributed renewable energy is really the same definition. You can find underline what is the difference. The difference is that simply we are within the distributed economy paradigm, so that we are designing distributed production unit system and so on that are locally based, either really local or multi-local, as we have seen, and that are beneficial. And when we speak beneficial in environmental, economic, and socio-ethical term, they are even resilient. So this is what is added when we insert the distributed economy into this definition. So that's very easy. So what are the main approaches and skills so when we have to design those? The first one is, this could be even related to someone designing product service system. This is my way of saying, so could be a bit different from others, but basically I hope that it's not that far. Nevertheless, a satisfaction system approach is the capability of a designer to design a satisfaction unit or a particular demand, and hence and after all its products and services and so on. So the point is that we start thinking about the satisfaction unit, eating in Bovisa campus, having clean clothes, or whatever it is. So that is the starting point, all right? The satisfaction unit. So we an empty desk, all right? And we start from that, okay? Of course, then it needs to be contextualized and something, but the approach is that. And then we design the product and the services that better fits and so on, okay? So first of all, the satisfaction system approach. And this for me is not just for designing sustainable product service system. This is the way I'm saying a designer of a PSS should work. We have to think what is the satisfaction that we want to give before the product and the services. Then it will come the other, okay? This is key important. More in general, definitely, because this open up to radical innovation and so on that we know it's very important, okay? And about the satisfaction approach and the satisfaction unit, like the functional unit, you remember when we speak about life cycle design of a product, it's important to speak about the functional unit. Not only the impact along the life cycle phases, but even the performance of a product. Okay, the chair, if the chair doesn't last anything compared to another, even though it has a lower impact along the life cycle, it can be that the other, in relation to the functional unit, is there. We are up to a system level, so we don't have just one product. We have a mix of product and services. That's why we are speaking not about a functional unit, but a satisfaction unit, okay? And there is even a definition. So the satisfaction unit is defined as a satisfaction of a customer that could be fulfilled by one or more mixes of products and services and all the related life cycle processes, of course, used as a reference unit within a sustainability design and assessment. But here I want to say a little bit more about the satisfaction unit, even with a comparison with the functional unit of a product. So the point is moving from a product level to really up to a system level, okay? We take an example, a car, okay? If we think to a functional unit, we think to design a car with a low environmental impact, but we just think to a car, okay? The functional unit could be a performance, transportation of 1 person per 1 kilometer. Okay, so I will evaluate whatever car and compare the car in relation to this. Okay? But with a car, indeed, I can satisfy more demand. I can go to visit a friend. I need to go urgently by the doctor, hopefully not, or in vacation, or I can go to collect some document by the municipality of Milan, and so on. So indeed, we may have, in relation to this, more satisfaction unit. So, for example, the first one that I brought here, one person having access to their working space per 1 year. Okay, so I'm coming with a car here at the university, or a satisfaction unit 2, one person having access to public services delivering personal document per 1 year. Okay, so this is made with a car, but we could say with a car, or we will see, not necessarily, but we are speaking about a given satisfaction, not a transportation. You see the shift from the two, transportation 1 person per 1 kilometer, okay, but to do something, not to be satisfied of something, okay? Indeed, and then we can add other things that with the car we can do. A satisfaction unit requires an approach that is at the same time has 2 qualities. And here I come closer to what you were saying somehow. That is more deeper in the sense that if I need to go to collect, deeper it means that if a car is a car, okay, in a functional unit. If I say I need to go to collect a document or to in a certain place, I will, maybe I use a car, but then I will meet a service, another product. So a set of product, services, and stakeholder are much more. So it's actually deeper, okay? It's deeper in one way, but it's even more narrow, okay? In a sense, with a car, I can do more things. In that sense, I'm just looking to a specific satisfaction unit. Indeed, we can say that we need, in some sense, a car would needed be needed anymore. If I start thinking about receiving a document, I made this example on purpose to make it easy. I can receive it without a car. Just now many of the services are supplied via internet. The second key point, even this is not just related to sustainable product service system. For me, is the approach to design, is a key approach to design product service system, is what I call stakeholder configuration approach. So to be able to design the interaction among the different stakeholders, identifying the stakeholder being part of what I'm designing to. So to be creative in designing this. And here, I know, you know, a system map, you all know what it is, but this is what I'm saying, okay? So we, as PSS designer, we have to be able to design the configuration of the actor. I like to make a parallel with the product. If I have a product, an exploded view of a product, I have a component made with one material, another component with another material, and then there are the joining elements and so on. And each material has its own characteristic and so on. Up to a system level, which are the components? The stakeholder. The stakeholder are actors of the system, and they have their own characteristics, maybe existing, maybe characteristics that can be improved or can be enhanced, and so on. And what are the joining elements of, if I go back to the product up to a system level, the interaction among the different components, the stakeholder? It means material flow, financial flow, labor flow, and so on. So this is to be able and to be creative in relation to this. And this is my way of saying the key approaches to PSS design anyhow. Said this, obviously, we have to have the other important, which is the one we will be working on, a system sustainability approach. So that means to be able such a stakeholder interaction among the proper stakeholder that is able to make, to put in action the win-win potential of SPSS model eventually applied to distributed economy. So that is why it's so important all we have learned before, okay? Then we design this as you are able to design, and you will find some tool to be supported in this, but this is so, okay. Indeed, not all PSS are sustainable. We have been designing very many PSS, listening some the graduation, some presentation about PSS, sometimes I have to take my hair away because there is something that I would hope that all of the PSS are thought to be sustainable, but rightly sustainable, okay? Indeed, not all PSS, as not all products are sustainable. So sustainable win-win potential should be addressed. Sustainable strategies and win-win guidelines are needed. And we need even tools that embed these guidelines and knowledge to be operatives to support us in the real practice of design. Okay, I get a knowledge, I know something, but then when designing, I have a tool that really support me, but has the knowledge that I've learned embedded in a practical way. Here I'm going really to the conclusion, and I'm not going to speak that much about this. It's just the intro to what will be described to you in the next lecture. Okay, so we will have a set of strategy and guidelines to design environmentally sustainable product service system. And the strategy are system life optimization, transportation distribution reduction, resource reduction, waste minimization valorization, conservation biocompatibility, and toxicity reduction. Okay, keep it as it is. You will, maybe you get the point of some of those. We will learn about, and some are closer to the strategy of product, but they are up to a design level. There will be other strategy related to the socio-ethical sustainability PSS. So you will see strategy and guidelines to design PSS to improve employment and working conditions. They will be embedded in tools to brainstorm and to generate ideas in relation to this, to increase equity and justice in relation to all of the stakeholders along the product value chain, to enable responsible and sustainable consumption, to favor integrate low-income, weak and marginalized persons, to improve social cohesion, and to empower and enhance local resources. Okay, so this will be the strategy that will guide you in developing sustainable, in this case, socio-ethically sustainable PSS. Then we have developed even some guidelines that you will be using that combine SPSS with distributed economy. And you will see those with example again, complement distributed economy hardware with offer with lifecycle services as an enabling ownerless as an enabling platform, ownerless as full service. And you see these are related to the three typology of PSS: product-oriented, use-oriented, and result-oriented. Okay? So you will brainstorm to understand in your situation which is the best, with not just a strategy, but with guidelines and example. And then you will brainstorm to optimize the stakeholder configuration. You remember we spoke about the configuration, about distributed economy, which is the best in the system that you are designing. In relation to the typology of the payment, so the linking the payment from hardware purchase and resource consumption, and optimize the distributed structure. And the point is that it's important to evaluate which of the strategy is more important to be followed. It's more important to design for improving employment and working condition, or favoring low-income people, and or in relation to the environmental dimension, reduce valorize waste, and so on. We have to study the existing system and give priority to this, so that while generating the idea, we are not lost in developing ideas that don't give us great opportunities of change in relation to sustainability that we need. So indeed, for a given satisfaction unit in a system, eating in Visa Campus in your case, some strategy will have higher relevance than others. Some strategy can be synergetic, and in some cases they can be even conflicting. But if you have a priority, you can decide, okay, maybe to valorize waste compared to toxicity is more important. So I give more value to this strategy and the idea that has emerged. So for decision making, I mean for designing in this case, it's really important to give priority to strategy. So to identify the most promising strategies, which indeed are related to the strategy and the guidelines to win-win. You will see the guidelines there. They will not be guidelines on how to design a product, but guidelines related to innovative interaction among stakeholders, to new possibility model of offer, okay? So the guidelines will be up to a system level. New, innovative and win-win, potentially win-win interaction. But it's key important to understand which is the strategy that is more important. So when I have to brainstorm and generate idea, to configure in relation to the configuration of the system, to which strategy I give the priority. The satisfaction system approach means we have to look at the unit of satisfaction first, okay? And we have understood what is this. And even deontologically speaking, for me, this is very important. We are not designing a product, a car. What is really that we want to give a satisfaction, okay, in all its dimension, okay? But this is what we have to focus on. This is very important to me. Even for a designer, for a PSS designer, definitely, okay? Stakeholder configuration. We have to be able to design in a creative way the interaction among the different stakeholders and the appropriate stakeholder. And of course, to have a system sustainability approach, so to be able to understand which of those interactions, which stakeholder are appropriate to have win-win potential in relation to the 3 dimensions of sustainability.